Hey guys, Marcus with Spirit Custom Carpentry, and we're getting ready to a circle window, and we got to figure out how to trim that out. So we've come up with a pretty simple system. Let's go inside since it's crazy humid outside right now here in Minnesota. It's about almost 100 degrees, but here's what we got set up. So we got basically a square. We pocket screwed, and we made marks where our outside trim piece will be. So we put one screw right through the center basically of it to keep it held together, and glued and screwed it, put it together, and then we put a board in the center here, and we tack down with a micro pinner. We tack down the board in the center, we tack down the inside of the circle, so the circle will be kind of going around like that. We tack the inside, we tack the outside, so everything's been tacked down except for the actual cutout of where the circle will be. And basically we'll set our router up to center, and to get center basically we just measure from outside mark over here, outside mark over here, divide by 2, make a dash. Same with left and right, outside mark, divide by 2, make a dash. So you get your X for your center, drill a hole. Okay, so we got our hole drilled, and then right here, this setup here is our router sled. So basically what we did is we took our router and we just traced around the base. So we took our base off our router, set it on a board, traced around it, and then router just ever so slightly bigger than it, so it would sit in there, but it's not all the way through, as you can see. So you can take the screws that come with the router, and basically we put them up through the bottom into the original holes on the router. So everything is secured here, and then we set our distances by going from on the external side of the frame, we set it to the inside of the bit to our hole, and then for the inside or internal edge of the frame, trim, we set it from our center to our outside of our bit. That way when our router comes, it'll be on the inside of this line and on the outside of this line, and it'll make our trim the right distance. So then of course you just want to make sure that everything's prepped off. Any kind of glue that might be overhanging here, we're going to go ahead and trim that off. That way when you rotate the router around, it's nice and smooth going around the circle. So you run your screw all the way through. Oh, and it's very key, you have these washers. You put one underneath the head of your screw and one between the two boards. And what that'll do is it'll give space to allow the router to be able to rotate around. So you put that in, and you don't put it tight, you actually loosen it up a little bit. And first of all, we did that wrong. We should have loosened that first and then checked this. But this has got a little bit of play in it, so it feels good. And then you check it, just kind of run it around. Feels like it's nice and smooth. Okay, then you'll set the depth. And basically you just set it to whatever you're comfortable with. Now he's just increasing the depth. So after he does the first ring, the outside ring, you go ahead and you secure the actual trim piece, micro pinning it so it's inside of your boards or inside of your trim pieces. Now he'll swap the screw to the other position. All right, some pointers real quick. when you're doing this, if you guys ever want to do this for yourself, you don't ever want to try and put any weight on this unless, of course, you have a solid table, which we're obviously just working on a sawhorse. If you have a solid table, you can obviously put your weight on it, but that's why we're trying not to rest any weight on this board or on this board to cause any kind of change in the angle of the bit, because that will change when you pull it out of the frame. You'll see a different, basically like a step up. We do have one done, so I'll show you really quick what I'm trying to explain. Basically, you'll end up with that, where there's a slight ridge all the way around, and basically what that's from is accidentally resting your arm or something on the sheet good that you're using, or in this case pieces of cedar that are glued together. What'll happen is the angle will change and it'll cut it slightly off, which isn't a big deal. We can sand that out, but if you guys want to save yourself the hassle, obviously that's one thing to keep in mind.